This podcast is not affiliated with any Grand Lodge, and the ridiculous antics and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and should be dismissed immediately.
All right, welcome to episode 35 of Studio 357 Masonic Podcast. Hi, Jim.
Ooh, hi.
I got that out. We'll start out real quick. Shout out to our show sponsors, Homeward Handyman Services, BricksMasons.com, the Insurance Center, Corporal Dagan Page Foundation, and of course, our Patreon supporters. Which you too can support our show for $3, $5, or $7 a month. Mm-hmm. I don't know how we came up with that, but we did. It's very kitschy.
I sense a theme.
Huh. That's it.
That's it? That's the end of the show?
Yeah. Tonight we have a very special guest.
I don't know that we've ever had royalty.
Oh?
I don't know that I've ever spoken to royalty.
Yes, sir.
Your Majesty.
Why, thank you.
So we have Her Majesty, Emily Poole. And you are the Queen?
Yes.
Queen?
Yep.
I'll let you introduce yourself so I don't screw it up.
Yeah. Queen Emily Poole, Satra Temple number 59, Omaha, Nebraska, Daughters of the Nile. That's the official long
Say that 5 times fast.
title.
Does that fit on a business card?
It's hard. Has to be one of the double-sided ones. Yes, it's a mouthful. So, but yeah, usually just they refer as Queen Emily.
Excellent. So I personally didn't know anything about Daughters of the Nile until I started doing some research, and I still don't know very much. So it should be a fun episode.
Yes.
I purposely did not learn anything so that I could learn tonight.
Wait, for once I know something you don't?
I'm sure there's a lot you know.
Give it time.
I don't know.
All right, real quick, what have you been up to? I sold our camper today.
Oh.
I watched them pull out the driveway when I got home. Had our fellowship night last night. And other than that, just been working.
Yeah, me too. Golf course is getting busy. Everything, grass is getting green.
No losses from the storm or damage anywhere or anything like that?
It didn't really do anything here.
It didn't reach Midtown much either, so.
No.
Okay.
What about you? Royalty, Your Majesty?
The title is new.
I'm going to say that all night.
So, just been, really busy. Had the installation on March 22nd at the Scottish Rite. And then had my first session, which is what we kind of call Lodge. Had our first session on April 4th. So, it's just been the whole lead up to that. So, it's finally, I'm not busy right now. So it's been very nice, but I very much so was leading up to it. So
perfect.
It's nice to take a break and come hang out too. So
yeah. What about you, Jim?
Oh, we had our lodge meeting last week. We had practice for the 5th degree. We've got a great team that's getting ready for that. The director's a little shaky, but the rest of the crew's pretty good.
Oh, you're talking about Scottish Rite. Yeah,
Scottish
5th
Rite.
degree. That registered now.
No, yeah. Our director, he kind of slow.
And we did. I forgot to mention that. We had a director's meeting Wednesday. Today's Friday, right? Yeah, Wednesday.
Saturday, the Knights of St. Andrew had a breakfast, which was Very nice. Had our regular meeting. Tuesday, I got to attend the Table Lodge at George Leiniger Lodge, and I asked if they would like any help, and so I got to serve as a steward and
Nice.
spill wine all over the table, go up and down. That was a good time. And last night, I got the honor for the first time of delivering the Fellowcraft Middle Chamber.
Oh, how did it go?
At Plattsmouth. It was an amazing experience. Only a couple flubs, but I think I got away with it. Nobody noticed. But
There's like
For
three
for
people
those-
in the state that know that lecture.
for those of you that don't know, as they were saying earlier, there were major storms. So in Plattsmouth, we had the whole ceremony, the whole degree. We had sirens going off outside. We had the weather machine telling us we were under advisories, and you could hear the hail going off the ceiling. And
Man.
And so my first experience was not only trying to remember my lines, but all that was going on around us. So
That wasn't distracting at all.
actually, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So
It's kind of neat you're practicing your craft while the storm is
Right,
going on.
right.
You know, it's not bad.
well, it's one of those things that if I can do them and do it in that condition, I'm fine the rest
Yeah.
of the time. So
Yeah, talk
it was exciting.
Getting a test. So during that storm, we were at our fellowship night down at Scottish Rite, and he got the spirit box out.
That's fun.
We'll talk off camera.
Yes.
There was didn't get much, but we've gotten some consistencies more than once down there with that. So.
Interesting.
That'll be a good offshoot.
Yeah. So let's jump into how did you get involved with Masonic bodies?
As a lady, really the kind of only entry in is through like a male family member. It's real commonly through spouse or like your father. So mine is, through my husband. I used to joke all the time that because once I found out about Daughters of the Nile and you needed a Mason to do so, that I kind of married Ted so I could become a daughter. It was just that much interesting to me as soon as I heard about it. So my introduction was Ted wanting to be a Mason, becoming a Mason, and then it's just fascinating on all fronts. So it was something I was really drawn to and had to jump in with both feet. So
I wish your mom would have shown some interest for that. My wife doesn't want to join anything.
Oh no,
She's the typical Gen Xer. Like, I don't need anything.
We're trying to draw more of our age, into it and so forth too. So,
It's funny
but
'cause she's not even Gen X.
Oh, as I say, you battle that apathy a lot with Gen Xers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My wife is an amazing individual. I will say nothing bad about her.
Good man.
I also won't say that she's sitting right there.
Yeah.
She may or may not be in the peanut gallery. Will be well behaved today.
Yes, sir.
I'd ask if she want to see how the magic happens, but there's no magic here.
The magic is for us.
Yeah, it's our personalities.
Yes.
Tell everyone what the Daughters of the Nile is and what you do.
On like a high level, Daughters of the Nile is a fraternal, international, philanthropic organization for and made up of Masonic women. It started about 110 years ago, 1913 in Seattle, but it was for like wives of Masons. You folks go off to your lodge nights and have everything else to do. And so the ladies were left at home, kind of with nothing going on. So they started a social club for the ladies of the Masons. And then it just kind of grew into, a philanthropic children's charity organization from there. What we do on like a international level, we have temples in United States, Canada, Brazil, and Bolivia. We span about 25,000 members over the entire organization. And we just, it's social and fundraising for children. We do Children's Shriners Hospital.
Okay. So I was just going to say, it sounds very similar to the Shrine.
Yep. We are hosted here in Omaha by Tangier Shrine. We host our sessions there and work really closely with them and have the same goal for charity. But that's, as an organization, it's, just again, that social, that knowing other wives of Masons, it's nice to have, that community, that friendship, that they all know what goes on there. And then helping children along the way is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Myself in the organization, what I do is, yes, I was blessed with being elected queen. Much like you guys, as it is an elective line, once you decide to kind of step in, you step in, at least for us in the North, and then make your way, through each year. And then, eventually elected queen. And I have the pleasure of running the temple for a year. We run on a March to March schedule versus you folks'. So I think they let that happen because you guys have everything in the stinking January, when all the installations happen and the year turns over. We get yours out of the way, and then ours are, more in the springtime. But yeah, I get to lead the temple through fundraising, through our business meetings. We are a 501c3, so there's budgets involved, project management, kind of anything you would kind of think of to run an organization, the queen gets to do for a year. So, and while you wear a crown. So, and you get to be called your majesty. It just, the whole package, of it. It was very charming to learn of the organization because once you join, you are a princess, and again, when you become a queen, you get to wear a crown. And I'm a big fan of ritual and the memorization and just, I think it's just a wonderful organization with that end goal of the children's charity.
That's going to be one of my side questions is there ritual?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
And is it secret?
We have our secret work,
Oh my goodness,
we have passwords and, the handshake and how to identify, another daughter, all that kind of good stuff.
I haven't heard any of the conspiracy theories about Daughters of the Nile.
No, and I asked the other day if there was even any famous, ladies, and there are some Order of the Eastern Star, which is a co-ed Masonic body. Like Eleanor Roosevelt was in Star. There's a few politicians' wives, but nobody,
Really?
nobody's, there's no, Angelina Jolie is not a daughter, that we haven't uncovered anybody, in that fashion and stuff. But
So when you say it's tied into Tangiers and Omaha, is it tied into the shrine altogether, or does that just happen to be something that's in Omaha?
Are you chartered through Tangier?
Right.
Oh, no, not in that sense. We just have a nice partnership with them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they host us. We do pay a rent type of thing for the facility, so we partner with them.
How dare they? You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yes, thank you. No, other temples are, meet out of, Blue Lodges, Scottish Rites, kind of across the country and so forth. But overall, our end charity is still the Shriners Children's Hospital.
Okay. How many chapters did you say?
Goodness, we have I think about 150 temples across the four countries and so forth. So I'm guessing.
Again, not knowing that there's probably a different flavor in each of those temples. We call it flavor like in our lodges. Every one of the lodges is a little bit different.
Oh, yes.
Things a little bit differently.
Yes. So, yeah, and the queen does get to kind of not dictate that, but we get to, kind of choose how we'd like it to go. Mm-hmm. I love ritual. When we walk in, we round our corners like the like the Nile. The Nile doesn't go straight. We round our corners and there's the memorization, and we treat it like a play. We're presenting, our work. Mm-hmm. Nobody's allowed in, until certain points. All that kind of stuff like you guys are familiar with. But some temples like to have matching outfits where all the ladies wear the same thing, or you could do a short form, you can do a long form, kind of depends. Yeah, you can make it your own that year. I really like aesthetics and decorations and things like that. So my sessions have, balloons and decorated tables and coffee and cakes, and I just want to make it a nice experience.
That's what we're missing at Lodge. That's what the balloons.
Balloons?
We need the balloons at the Lodge.
Well, we do have a clown in our lodge. You can have balloon animals.
That works. If I knew how to do that, I would. So that works.
Make a balloon gavel.
That's even better.
Wow.
But yeah,
I said it. Now he's going to watch this.
I know. But we're structured really, similar, northwest, east, south, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. But I think in the general sense, it would be very similar, to like a lodge night or how you guys are structured as well, just for gals only. Again, there is like Order of the Eastern Star that welcomes women, but that is co-ed. Personally, what also drew me to Daughters of the Nile was for Masonic women. It's nice to be for like only women, having that Masonry connection. Everybody always thinks, Masons are going to take over the world and just everything that goes on. I always tell Ted, have fun being a secret man. When he goes off to lodge night, he doesn't share everything with me. I think being a part of that is just fascinating. And so it just, really drew me in.
Well, I'd imagine it kind of tightens your bond as husband and wife too. Like,
yeah.
There's some like unsaid familiarities that you don't even have to talk about. You just know it's kind of the same. Like you just understand each other on a deeper level.
And the position that he's in now, senior warden, is similar to what I just went through as Princess Royal, which leads into the queen role. So he knows, what I was going through, and I'll know what, he's kind of going through planning for your master year, your queen year. So that helps as well. So he was originally in line to be master this year when I was queen, before he lost his leg. But I realize now that that's a little bit of a blessing, because I don't think a master and a queen, that's a hard year to kind of, that's too much. I know other ladies have done it, and, there's been potentates and queens at the same time, and that's bonkers. I don't think I could,
So how long have you been involved both in the Masonic world and specifically with Daughters of the Nile?
It will be 4 years in August. Oh. It's been super brand new, because I did find out retroactively, like, I had an uncle that was, a Mason, things like that. But since I had to wait, to marry Ted, we've only been married 4 years, 5 years or so. So yeah, as soon as I could, I jumped right in. Honestly, I jumped in line as soon as there was a vacancy and was just kind of going for it. I mean, I even had told Ted I would like to be like a supreme queen one day. I can go into details about like our governance at a supreme level, but I think that would, I feel like almost that calling towards it. I think it's something that
I just want to point out, she said 5.5 years or so. She didn't have to nail it exactly, if anyone's listening.
Yes. So yeah, very short amount of time versus some ladies, have been in it 40, just as their husbands have been 50-year members, they're 50-year members as well. So got a late start, but jumped in with gusto.
And I guess technically, you're His Majesty.
That's right.
Or would you be a duke?
No, what do they call me?
Prince.
The royal concubine?
The consort.
Consort.
No, but it's now concubine.
That's what we call you, Ted. That's what we call you.
It is now.
I've been called a royal pain in the ass.
It is now concubine. Thank you. Heck yeah.
So I was going to ask this question, but we already kind of covered it. Are there any other requirements just to then be directly related to a Mason?
No. We thankfully, they take the stance of if your Masonic connection, is obviously strong enough to be a Mason, we don't go through like the, background checks or, like the heavier questioning that you folks might do to admit a gentleman. You've already made it, so your wife must be of, great character as well. So, they're welcome to join. It just requires, basically interest. We have a sign card, need 2 signers. We submit, we vote. And I don't think I haven't seen a black ball in 4 years. So, and then you go through you make the offer and go through initiation.
Well, if your husband's a Mason, I mean, it's definitely true that our ladies are our better halves. So, if we're good enough, they've got to be good enough.
So we don't mince too much about it. So we welcome everybody.
I'm going to ask this and be careful how I ask it. So this is kind of a thorny issue, but I'm not sure if you've overheard what's going on right now with the Eastern Star in West Virginia. But the Eastern Star recently voted to allow women that didn't have a Masonic connection. And so in West Virginia, the Grand Master is in essence kicking them out of the building.
Yep.
So my question is, and I don't want to lead you down a rabbit hole to get you canceled. I was just curious if the if the Daughters of the Nile is thinking the same thing. Are they planning on staying just with women with Masonic ties, or has there been talk of?
In the past, maybe 3 to 4 years. There's been legislation presented to vote on at our Supreme Sessions to allow just any woman of good character, somebody, just as long as like a current daughter vouches for that woman, that she'd be allowed to enter. Because we do face, the same challenges as you folks, where currently our age range is, 65 up. So we're trying, one of our most recent Supreme Queens, our daughters could be gone in 5 years. There's nobody to start stepping in line, and then going through. So one of those, and again, it's 2025. I mean, any woman of good character. So last year it lost, but it was only by like 40 votes. So it keeps getting closer, kind of like each, session. Because we have a genealogy team, but sometimes there's just not a Mason, because if you have to, we'll go back to, your grandpa, three times back or something to find it. But sometimes there just isn't. You think everybody was a Mason, back in old timies, but they weren't. So that really cuts a lot of ladies off at the knees sometimes when we're struggling for,
So is there some sort of feeder program? Like, do you guys look at Jobs or anything?
Jobs, Rainbow. That's one of, what, that's actually good, is other than, having a Masonic connection, excuse me, if you are a Shriner's patient, you're welcome to join.
Oh, wow.
And then if you are, Jobs, Rainbow, that would also be kind of like an instant in once you hit 18, and then you would be welcome as a daughter.
Yeah, because we've found in lodge, I don't know about you, Ted, in your lodge, but the young guys, the guys that are 18 to 25 are really digging Masonry.
Cool. Okay. Good.
So
have them tell their sisters.
Yeah, right.
There's a girl version.
There's a girl version. I love it.
It's a girl version of Masonry, and again, you're a princess. It's fantastic. But it's just. That Shriner's patient is nice if you just have received care through the Shriner's Children's Hospital. That would open your eligibility as well, and then Jobs, Rainbows, all that good stuff. So
About how many are there kind of locally, and how many just worldwide?
Local, like Satra Temple here in Omaha, we have 200 members. I'd say maybe 50 or so are active, showed a session, fundraisers, participate in some fashion. But we just went through our roster, and we have 200 even.
That's a pretty good percentage.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Again, with the, age range, but we're really just trying to get that interest, back into it. But I'd say worldwide, we are, pushing between that 25, 6,000, folks, especially now that we are in Bolivia and Brazil. A lot of ladies really enjoy that down there. They really took to the Nile aspect of it. When they do their sessions or have their temple, it's very, Nefertiti, the fans, the robes, all of it, like Cleopatra. It's fantastic. But we are sitting about, I'd say 25, 6,000 ladies across.
What is the drink at ceremonial that you guys would make? Is it the Nile Punch? There's, I don't remember what it was called. I know remember the last ceremonial we had at the hotel off of 72nd? The Daughters of the Nile had a room. And
Did they?
So every room has like a signature drink,
they will.
right?
Yeah, they will do one of those. I forgot about those.
And I don't remember what
but
it was
wasn't
called.
Something
That was potent.
I'm going to have to find out, because that sounds,
I know he had more than one and probably regretted it.
I didn't. There was no regrets. I mean,
Right.
You still had two, but there was no regrets.
Blame that on the Masonic pour.
Yeah.
Ooh, that Scottish Rite pour is heavy. They do. So
So did COVID affect you as it did the Blue Lodge and the other groups? Did numbers drop off? Did you see less activity?
Less activity during that time. They still tried to keep some semblance of normalcy, but we call them the COVID queens. They did not have, their normal year. They met on Zoom, like our Supreme, kind of like our version of your the Grand Lodge things was done on Zoom. It was just unfortunately poorly attended. They didn't have much of a year. A lot of them are running again, or going through line again, so they can have like a true physical year. Ours, past Queen Roxanne, she wore a Burger King crown, because there was no use though in really kind of having like a physical crown, because you don't get to wear it or do anything. So they really did kind of get the shaft, and it did put like a pause on things. And then having folks come back, like that reset everybody's lives and priorities so much that we did lose active folks, and it was some of the younger ones, because now they're focused on family or going back to school or just had to switch their lives in general, that something fell by the wayside, and we lost a lot of our younger folks during that time too. So,
But is it starting to pick up now again?
it is, I think so.
Good.
A lot of the members are younger, and then they have children or are hitting like the 18, 19, 20, are starting to come in as well. They're seeing their moms have a good time with it, and it's a good experience for them, to do it together. We honor
Maybe
legacy
you can
members.
find you a nice girl.
But yeah, we're starting to slowly kind of rebuild with that. So
Very good.
He's going to murder me as soon as that camera shuts off.
I think he's smiling, or maybe that's an evil grin.
He's always scheming something.
Always scheming.
gears are turning.
Should we take a quick break, producer?
Sure.
Okay, let's take a break.
Sounds good.
At Homeward Handyman Services, we pride ourselves on being honest and giving every job the attention it deserves. Owned and operated by a master mason with 2 decades of expertise in home repair. We are bonded and insured, and we carry the highest standards when it comes to taking care of your home. Whether you need a faucet changed or a light remodel, we can take care of your home improvement needs. Call Michael at 402-915-0824 today for a free estimate.
Let's get back into it. So, let's hear about philanthropy. Tell us a little bit more about your major philanthropy, and then any smaller ones that you might be involved in.
Definitely. And I think that's again, I think I mentioned it, but other than just, the ritual and the kind of grandness of, being a Mason or a Mason's woman, is the philanthropy that we do. And ours is, the Children's Shriners Hospitals. I think that's a nice, the fact that it's for children as well, I think is fantastic. Daughters of the Nile as an organization is the second highest donator to the hospitals outside of the Shriners themselves.
Really?
Yes. Last year we wrote a check of over 2 million that we were able that we fundraised and was able to donate to the hospitals. Was over 2 million in just last year alone. So we're the second highest donators to it.
I'm just going to say that's with far less membership than Shriners International.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to step up our game.
That's right. That was just the U.S. Side of it. Canada donated 366 Canadian dollars. That was the check that they wrote to the hospitals as well. So
Let's take at least $1.50
easily. That transfer rate, we got it, back in 24 when things were, a little more stable. But yeah, so being that large of a source of funds and donations to children's is just kind of an extra special place. I always joke that when Ted lost his leg, it's just too bad he wasn't like 20 years before he could have been like a Shriners kid, man. Come on. I love seeing the commercials. We always, we all know like Alec and Caleb, like the Shriners kids and stuff, seeing them on TV. But we often, as part of our fundraising events, is we'll invite a past Shriner patient or a current Shriner's child and their family to come and speak, about, the care that they've received and things like that, so we can have a more tangible or kind of see the results of, all the fundraising and the hard work that we do to see it be blessed upon somebody is nice as well, and to hear their stories. I haven't done it quite yet. We're always welcome at each Shriners hospital itself. Part of the duties of our Supreme Queen is she tours all of the Shriners hospitals and gets to again meet the patients and just again to see that fruition of all the hard work and see who it actually benefits is really nice as well. So
they do amazing work.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I know there's a lot of other wonderful children's charities out there, Jude's, things like that, but the Shriners one obviously holds a real special place, and I think it's just really well done. So,
what kind of fundraisers do you do for Shriners?
Ours are usually party based.
Wonderful.
We'll touch on it in kind of upcoming dates, but the Queen gets to kind of pick about 5 fundraisers a year, sprinkled throughout the year. We used to do a big one for us was music bingo. That went so well. It was so well received. A couple years ago, Douglas County put the kibosh on music bingo of charity organizations that run a gambling, part of it or something like that. They really put the crack down. So we had to withdraw things like that. But I'm doing a mystic night in August. Fortune telling, get your palm read, things like that. I was able to snag the day before Back to the Future Day, October 24th. And so we're just going to do a big, Back to the Future 80s party, things like that. So a lot of what you folks do, you sell a ticket, you get a meal and a party, for a nice, decent price, raffles, all that kind of good stuff. So, it's a lot of those just fun event.
I'll bring the hoverboards.
Yes, please. The laces on the shoes, all of that.
I'm divided. That was one of my favorite movies. But if you've watched any, on TikTok now, they'll talk about in the 1985 the movie was made. They went back to the 55. So now if you did the same movie, they'd go back to 1995.
It was a good year.
It was a good year, though. Yeah.
I can tell you exactly what everything looked like because that's when I got out of high school.
Yup. How Shriners may be known for having a good time and drinking and things like that, and the ladies are different. We like to have our dance parties and our fun drinks with it and can hold our own. So a lot of our fundraisers are focused on that. We do OG pancake breakfasts and bakeless bake sales and raffles and things like that and stuff. But pretty traditional, just kind of party fundraisers. So
Nice.
And trying to think anything else in general. But it's just again to see one other part of our philanthropy is Ted might be my consort, but he is also a gentleman of the creek, which is what husbands of daughters are called as well. Their little fun club group of that is Gentlemen of the Creek. Honestly, it's $5 for a lap.
I was trying to make the connection.
Yes.
I'm a little slow over here.
Bless their hearts, it's $5, for an lifetime membership or something like that. But last year, in the span of 5 days during our Supreme Conference, those gentlemen raised $20,000 to then be donated to the Children's Hospital. So honestly, you get a bunch of Masons drunk and they're going to open their wallets, things like that.
I don't even have to be drunk.
It wasn't too hard. But honestly, again, when you hear it's for the children and stuff like that, it's very easy to want to give your time and your money to something like that because it's going towards something good. So it's a big, heavy portion of why I joined.
So since it's all secretive and whatnot, you probably can't tell us what happens, but what does your lodge look like? And you say that however you can.
Yes.
Either metaphorically or describe it or whatever. But what does lodge look like?
We call ours session, and then we are a temple. Ours is. They're all Egyptian named. We're Satra Temple. There's an Amon-Ra temple throughout the United States, things like that. But we have our session. We are required to meet 9 times a year. We have chosen to be dark in the J months. So we don't meet January, June, or July personally. Each temple does have their own flavor though. Can kind of outline that as they choose. But, we open with a gong and I, again, prefer really pageantry. we march in, we walk in, you're gavelled up, you're gavelled down. But then after our secret work and things like that, we roll into a business session, unfinished business, new business, reports of units and committees.
The most exciting part of any meeting.
Right.
Go to the orders, all that, everything like that as well. And then, kind of finish out with a little more secret work. And then, we march on out to the Queen's song of choice. My walkout song is Country Roads. I mean, how can you not just want to, walk out in a lovely line?
That's awesome.
To some John Denver. So
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
you can't go wrong with that. But I think again, it's pretty run similar. We have positions in the northeast, south and west. We have our salutation. Everybody is addressed. If you need to speak, Princess Marie, you have the floor, and I am addressed as, Her Majesty, may I approach the east, all that kind of good stuff. So it is couched in a lot of the same, traditions and ritual as you guys as well. I think if there was a memorization coin, or the proficiency coin, maybe we can get that started or something like that, because I really love the beautiful ritual of it all. I'm a big ritualist,
So we've got the 3 degrees. It's well known. That's not a secret. Are there degrees that you go through? And if so, how many?
There are 2 fun ones, kind of like honorary.
Okay.
Once you are a daughter, that's kind of, other than if you'd like to step in line, and then go through the Queen line. At our Supreme sessions, they have, they call it like the Canada A degree, and they're just more like goofy, social things like that, or the Ooga Booga degree, things like that. So, they're just more of a social, silly type of camaraderie type thing versus like official degrees you folks would have. So, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So how many officer positions are there? Or maybe they're not called officers.
No.
Well, to feed into that, you said you were going to get back to it. Tell us the governing, how the body works, the Supreme.
Yep. Yeah, and that'll kind of like lead into that. Excuse me. So within Canada, U.S., Brazil, and Bolivia, each, organization or whatnot, lodge is called a temple. So we're from Satra Temple, and there's Naphis Temple in Lincoln, things like that. So we are a temple, and then each one is governed, for a year by the Queen. But then, we do have that the overreaching organization, and that's called Supreme. We have a Supreme Queen, a Supreme Banker, a Supreme Recorder. Each position within a temple is mirrored on the Supreme level as well. And it's the same thing. You can kind of jump in line if you'd like to be, Supreme Queen Bedura, which is the name of our north. You apply and you're voted in, and it just kind of follows that same. But we are governed by a Supreme Council, by a Supreme Queen, and then Supreme counterparts.
So that's worldwide.
It is. Yep. She is the Supreme Queen of entire Daughters of the Nile throughout all 4 countries. Wow. Like our good friend John Herbelschmeyer is the current, Grand Master of the Blue Lodge, but not only, but it's in the state of Nebraska. Our Supreme Queen Jackie, who is our current Supreme Queen, she's the Supreme Queen of the whole Megillah.
Wow.
It's she's our gal. So, and we have our Supreme session every year, like your annual communications, things like that. It's always held in June. It does vary on location from year to year on the whim of the incoming Supreme Queen. Yeah. This year it's in Vegas. I have never been to Vegas, and it's my Queen year. Like, I'm just going to go. It's going to be bonkers. I'm going to have to read the outlines on what I can wear my crown at and what I can't wear my crown at, because I'd be running up and down the street just like with it on if I could. But we have our, it's, week long or so, Supreme session as well, and vote on legislation and, luncheons and all that, kind of same thing you folks would do as well.
Yeah.
But again, it's called like Supreme Queen. Just the pageantry of it, again, the ritualistic of it I just find really charming. So, yeah. And then, 19 though, honestly, officers, from,
really?
Your Majesty the Queen all the way through, our banker, our recorder, we have a crescent where ladies of the household sit. But yeah, 19 is a full officer like house for us.
Are they all elected? Because in the Blue Lodge, some are elected and some are appointed.
It's a mix.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say I can't remember off the top of my head. You'd have to repeat like the ritual in my head, to figure out which are which. But yeah, we have, say 10 appointed, 10 elected type thing.
Okay.
But yeah, that'll run the same as well. So, and once you step in line, you're voted in. It's the Democratic Society as well. But yeah, it's takes that same kind of 4-year journey to get there as well. So, and it's yours for a year.
Yay!
Woo! It's the easiest year. I think the year leading up to like your master, you're getting ready for that year, and leading up to that queen year, I think that's the hardest. Year. You have to plan a year in ahead,
right.
It's
Then once you get there, you just have to let things fall.
That's exactly it. A lot of the past queens, because once you're a queen, your year's over, but you're always a past queen. I would always be addressed as Emily Poole, past queen. But they always tell us, that your queen year, once you're crowned, your installation, it's already done. Because you just have to write it out now, man. You just spent your last year doing everything. Now you just get to show up and enjoy it, which is true. Because I don't think I've ever been less busy Masonically than I had, the year like leading up to it, planning for everything. Now, it's just sitting back and enjoying it and, having a good time for it. So I can actually enjoy it.
I've never been Masonically busier until I was master.
I bet. And that each lodge, it kind of runs probably differently, as well and stuff. But working and being housed by Tangier adds a layer of organization needed because you have one building for like probably 20 different, when it comes down to it, between the units and the clubs and the fact that they rent it as a public, building as well. So that just takes another layer of, organization to do that. So, yeah.
So what would be the husband of the Supreme Queen? Would that be the Supreme Concubine?
Yes.
Supreme Consort?
The Supreme Consort, yes.
Supreme Concubine would be an amazing title.
That seemed like the right word.
We went with it. He's got the 7 veils, like all over it.
Okay, TMI. Isn't it?
Yeah, we can cut that out.
I found out after the fact.
Yeah, it didn't help.
Yeah, we don't cut anything.
This is in there. I love it.
So if you could sit down at dinner with anyone past or present, who would it be?
And I know thankfully the question says kind of Mason or not, and I sat and thought about that question for a minute, and honestly the first thing that came to mind was like my grandparents though. I don't believe that they had like a Masonic connection, but like both sets of kind of grandparents, passed in like 95, 96, 97, and only being, like 18 at the time, like I didn't take any chance to ever like talk to them. I never had like a conversation with them, like what was, your favorite, band growing up, grandma, just having that, like I didn't know anything personal about them. So if as an adult now recognizing, what you kind of miss, because you're, just some dumb 18-year-old, some 15-year-old thinking your grandparents are going to be, around forever.
Yeah.
You just take that for granted and so forth. And, I love them so much, but I didn't know much about them, personally. And so to have an adult conversation with like my grandparents, I think would just be fantastic. Because at the time, that they would have, grown up, during, World War I or, late 1800s, even that type of thing. Like the stories they, just even the mundane, must have been just such a different experience than what we go through. Excuse me, right now. Just to have that, just a nice adult conversation with them would be lovely, I think. And maybe they would be Masons. I don't know. That would be great. But yeah, just to have that chance. Because I think a lot of us, as we ease into our, late 40s, early 50s, lose a lot of folks when we don't realize, what we had when they were still with us. So if we could go back, just having that nice time, having a beer, with Grandma and Grandpa Lamb or something would be really nice. So,
I like that answer. I got lucky that I had the foresight to talk to my grandpa about a lot of those things, too, the stories that he could tell. I wish I had more time with him. But
Yeah.
That's a great answer.
Thank you.
You're up, Jim.
I'm up. What do you do to keep the members engaged? That's one thing we talk about all the time. We're looking for ideas on how to do it. How do you keep your members engaged?
Because again, that is kind of the big hurdle. What we find is a lot of ladies will join and then we don't see them again, you know. And you mull it. Is it because we do offer food? We don't offer food? Is it because our sessions are a Saturday morning versus like a Friday night? There's never going to be that perfect recipe to have all 200 people, members show up again. And coming off of COVID and things like that, I feel like I am personally in like a rebuilding year to try to get a lot of ladies, re-engaged or new members in. Personally, what I'm trying to do is just kind of bring us into like 2025. I use the hell out of Facebook. Like our Facebook page, like I try to use that, as much as possible. Text threads, just any way I can kind of get a hold of folks and stay engaged like with them. I know that they all have, their lives, there's a lot going on. I need to be kind of that tether to remind them of Nile, to keep them engaged like myself. So I make sure that I'm present. I'll send a text to the group thread every 2 weeks. I don't want to spam, 20 ladies, and spark, threads and it just gets, whatever. But, at least like every 2 weeks, just how everybody's going or just reminders, being just aware, even like friends on Facebook, make sure, oh, Misty was ill, reach out or, things like that. And just kind of staying on top of, the ladies that, I am in charge of for this year. Trying to make sure my events are, fun and awesome and something people would want to go to. The better events that we have, the more general public will come. That'll spark, that interest as well. I think being younger, kind of helps as well. Colored hair, piercings, tattoos. It shows a lot of the, ladies, my age on down that it's not, your grandma's, organization anymore. We would love to have, the younger members. And there's a lot of color-haired ladies, in the organization spread out across the world. So just trying to, really keep it, fresh and current. And I've been blessed with the enthusiasm that I think other folks are also just picking up on it as well. I've had a few ladies at the end of the session, let me know that they can kind of feel that excitement. It's like when they first joined, that they can, feel that as well. So just showing my own enthusiasm, being on point, being a good queen, just showing that, I have my poop in a group and that they can trust me and, to get the job done. So I think we'll drive a lot of folks to hopefully come back to my temple and be interested in daughters in general.
So you were saying earlier that you've got a lot of older members. Do you find that you're walking a fine line with the technology and the tattoos and the colored hair with the newer generation, older generation, or is everybody pretty acceptable? Have you had a lot of luck with Facebook with the older crowd?
Everybody's accepting and open to trying everything. We're running that line where in this day and age we'd like to rely on like electronic bylaws or an electronic roster, but we can't quite do that quite yet because some folks haven't made the transition to that Grandview app, that we use a version as well, or even just email or Facebook. They like to receive, a paper mailing. And so I think we're probably going to have a mix of that, for quite a few years to come until we stop issuing paper checks, in real life. We're still going to walk that, those two lines and so forth. But a lot of the older ladies are very open to using the technology and utilizing it when they can. But yeah, it's going to be kind of a mix, especially on the technology side until then. Excuse me. I know I personally was, worried about coming in with colored hair, or piercings or tattoos, if I would be accepted or how they'd feel and stuff like that. But I don't think anybody's given two hoots, or if they have, nobody's, kind of said anything and stuff. I think they're just as excited to have, an excited member, be a part of the organization and want to do good things that, the outside doesn't matter. It's the inside and the input and output that happens from that, this doesn't matter, thankfully. So, yeah.
I'd like to think Masons as a whole are a little bit more tolerant. I mean, that's kind of what we're established on, that, we're not really picky on the religion per se. There's just certain criteria that you have to fit. So I could see the ladies being the same way.
Yeah, I would say, they're on that more like progressive line of it and stuff. They're just happy to have like-minded, ladies part of the organization towards that end goal. So, yeah.
All right, we'll take another quick break, and then we'll come back for some wide open discussion and some upcoming events.
All right. Awesome.
Make it happen, Captain.
Your one-stop Masonic marketplace. You are the hero of this journey. We want to proudly stand behind you every step of the way. We want to enable you to go the extra mile in your Masonic travels. We want you to look your very best on every occasion. Investing in high-quality regalia shouldn't be a burden. We know you want to be better. We know you want to make a difference. We don't think you should compromise. Be your best. Visit bricksmasons.com today.
And we're back. And we now have, I don't even know the word I'm searching for. It's affirmed. We have Her Royal Highness.
Her Majesty.
We had a costume change.
Costume change.
Yeah, we added
She's
the crown.
wearing the crown. So if you are not watching, if you're listening only, safely pull over to the side of the road and go to YouTube or Spotify and check out this crown. It is amazing.
Thank you.
It's very sparkly.
Yes. Her name is Aurora.
Ooh.
I did name her. But yes, there's we used to have an older tradition where queens would wear like a temple crown, but the last couple years they loosened that, and we are allowed to purchase our own crown and kind of keep it, if we'd like, or turn it over to the temple. But when I heard that, and then when I went to our Supreme session last year, when I tried it on and everything, I was just like, all right, that's the one. I wanted a full crown, versus like a tiara, to have the full circle, just kind of like a traditional crown, kind of worked hard to be a queen. So I wanted to have, a queen's crown itself. So
I have two questions. One, where did the name come from? And two, where does one go to purchase a crown?
Yeah, where's the crown store?
There was a booth on the corner in the vendor's market. I said, an old lady, just kind of beckoned me in. So, no, I mean, there's a few various vendors, around. Mine is a Holly Hardwick. She's name known within like pageantry circles and within Nile, like for her crowns and things like that. So she was there in
That's why we haven't heard, none of us are really pageantry kind of people.
No toddlers and tiara fans or anything like that. So
no beauty pageant people.
Yes,
between the three of us. No.
Get the wave on. But and so, I decided to purchase my own crown. And honestly, I'm a big Sleeping Beauty fan in general, but just something, you kind of looked at her, and it's the Aurora Borealis type of jewels in there with the,
I was going to say, it's kind of the blues and greens. And,
kind of twinkles like that and stuff. So, she told me her name was Aurora, so I went with it.
Does she wear it around the house all the time when she's not?
I'm not at liberty to say.
That's the correct. That's it. They do have rules, though. I cannot drink alcohol, smoke a cigarette, or use the restroom in the crown. So I do have to abide when I'm wearing it.
Use the restroom while you have the crown on, right?
I have to take it off to, we've
Just
seen
clarifying.
many ladies go towards a restroom and get, kind of yanked back and, let me take that. So, yeah, there are, some, I'm sure, late modest ladies, rules with it and so forth. But yeah, any kind of official function or things like that. I have the pleasure of being invited to the Shrine Bowl Parade out in Kearney.
Yep.
That happens every year. If we let them know. We haven't done it in the past couple of years, but yeah, let them know that I'll be there, and I'll get a car with a banner, and I can wear the crown and go through the parade with it all and things like that. So
I've been in that parade more times than I have. And I think more times than I have hands, almost.
probably, yeah. So any kind of official capacity.
Well, more than I have hands, maybe fingers.
That's
what I meant.
Could you add your toes too? But yeah, there's a plethora of official functions. I get to wear it too, and all kinds of good stuff. So yeah, I love it.
Hang on, I just got to get this in for Jim.
Yeah.
So is the crown heavy?
No, it's quite light.
Is it?
Yeah, I found a sweet spot where I can just kind of place it, and go around, my happy life, and
Oh, you're turning your head. And like,
I can
gosh,
whip
the thing's gonna fall.
That wouldn't work for us.
Yeah, I'm real close to putting it on like one of y'all's heads. So. Just to see, maybe,
Joe would do good in a publicity photo with it.
That would be it. That would be it.
Yeah, I shaved my head. I know that's not fabric, but I shaved my head a day ago, so it's at the Velcro stage
There's some,
now.
yeah.
So there's some friction. It's got the sandpaper friction going on.
It would work, yeah. I know what we're doing after this, so.
So did you get sized for the crown too? Does it?
You can, and the crown maker can have it, fit or form to your head. But I think, again, kind of a reason I purchased this one was there was no adjustment needed. When I sat down and told her I wanted to try on that one, and she put it on, took a picture so you could see what you look like in it, but there wasn't any adjustment needed. So I was like, well, okay, then stinking wrap it up. It was the last crown box that she had, so everything was just pointing towards, this is the one for you. So
That was the one.
So yeah,
Everything came up sevens.
happy to have her. Yes. But I can safely drink a soda here.
I learned that there were stores to buy crowns in.
Yes, there are. Yes.
I learned that somebody's making crowns still.
Yes.
I mean, it
It's
makes
still
sense.
a hot industry, yes.
It's just not something that ever popped in my head. Like, I wonder where I'm going to get a crown.
Now you know, in case you ever do.
I bet it is pretty popular with pageants and.
Oh, yeah.
I bet there's money to be made.
And the different kinds of crowns, each temple has a crown, or again, you can purchase your own. So when you meet another queen, or you're at Supreme Session, you see all the queens, the levels of crowns is bonkers. Like you have more tiara types, you have your princess dies, you have your full-on, pageantry ones. Some have the Nile symbol like jeweled into them. Some are green because we're, Daughters of the Nile. Like it's just a plethora of styles and jewels and sparkles. It's wonderful. So yeah.
I'm going to get you a crown, Jim.
Yes.
I think we got a bottle in.
Yes.
We finished one bottle of crown. Not just tonight. Calm down.
Yeah.
Don't send emails.
Over a course of time. I love it.
It's been 2 shows. 2 shows? That's probably only about 3.
Yeah, about 3.
It wasn't a very big bottle.
It was enough that you can't remember how many shows it was.
Yeah, that's the telltale right there.
So, is Daughters of the Nile similar to Masons in, like, you don't, you wouldn't consider yourself a charity, but you're charitable people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's a tenet that I am focusing on, like my queen year as well. When I joined Daughters of the Nile, we have what are called ladies of the household that sit within a crescent and are representations of each of our virtues. And one of them is charity. That is our Princess Zenobia. She is our charitable princess. And that's the position I sat in when I first became a daughter. And something about it just kind of resonated, for me. Just even the, bare level of, the philanthropy that we do, the generosity, the charity that we do as well. But ever since I joined the Daughters of the Nile, and ever since Ted joined Masonry, we've been blessed with nothing but, charity and generosity by others. When Ted lost his leg, people came out, kind of in tenfold, with the support. I mentioned it when I was installed, but when we didn't have a working car, there were ladies that made sure that they, swooped me up and got me to practices and to, sessions and things like that, so I wouldn't be left out. I haven't had to, buy a new dress, for session, for any event, barely ever in the last 4 years, because everybody's opened their closets. They see someone new and, they're like, oh my God, I used to be your size. Let me give you all my clothes. It's amazing. Our past queen, she loves to go thrift store shopping. She will keep me in mind. She knows my size, what will fit, and if she sees something she thinks I like, she will be nice and just purchase it for me. So we have been blessed, 1,000-fold with everybody's, generosity and their charity towards us. And I just look to, repay that. It doesn't cost anybody, anything, to just even do one, kind charitable act, a day. There's just... you'll feel better, somebody else will feel better. And again, it's just a tenet that has held true, time and time again in my personal life and, our Masonic life. I think it's what makes, the better men that come out of Masonry with that, with better women, with Daughters of the Nile, is just, kind of remembering why we joined, and what our end goal is. And that's just to help each other and help children at the end of it. So I like to just remind everybody about, the obligation that we did take. We all joined for a reason. That's why we struggle with, we're not sure why people join and why they don't come back. We're not sure what that reason is. If you felt strongly enough about it to join, and go through the whole initiation process, which for us is like, like a 4-hour process, like it's a big day, and to not come back. You joined for a reason, and I would, encourage all of our ladies or anybody listening, to find what that reason was that you joined in the first place, what drew you to that, and let me know, let someone know what we might be able to do to kind of activate that again, to get you back and to get you enthused as I am and put you back in that charitable and generous mindset and, give a part of your time, to us. So.
In that same vein, what would you say to women out there that might be interested or have not gotten involved yet? What's your sales pitch? Why should somebody take a look at doing it?
I think it would fill a hole that you might not have, you may not know, but I think everybody's lives could be, enriched in that. As a wife of a Mason, I have seen how much, Ted has grown, just as a man, as a human, just all the friends that he's met, like the instant place of fellowship that you feel and just everything that kind of comes with that, we offer that as well. It is a nice place for the ladies to get together. We do have a really good time. It's fun to be called, a princess, and to just give your time for the fundraising, just, it's hard to kind of quantify because, again, when I heard about Daughters of the Nile, just something about it, instantly hit me, and I knew that was something I wanted to do. So if you are hearing that, listen to it. But it's just a worthwhile organization. It is, social. We do have a good time and we hang out and, our friends on that basic level as well. But to have that greater good to come together for, it's worth your time. It's worth the small amount that we ask of you.
Yeah.
And you do gain just so much more out of it. And it is very much so a 2025 organization that we're trying to move forward.
So how would somebody, if they're hearing this or watching it, or their husband is listening to it, and thinks his wife might be a good fit, how would they go about getting a hold of a temple?
Myself personally, but if you can have your husband, reach out type of thing. We do have a Facebook page that folks can, contact us by. But basically, it's just kind of asking. You can. It's a little ask one to know one. A little bit like you folks, but. If you're listening or watching and you are interested, reach out to, any of the gentlemen that we have here. They can kind of funnel you in, contact myself, etc. So we can, get the
You're
name
all
in.
over the United States, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one in, every 50 states in general. Yeah.
Okay.
Canada and so forth.
Is there a general website?
DaughtersOfTheNile.com. Yeah, just Google Daughters of the Nile and it'll bring it up. And it is pretty recent and updated as well. So, and it does, I believe it does have like, are you interested in joining? Please contact here. Okay. And they would kind of feed you down type thing if you didn't know me personally. So.
Yeah. If you don't want to just cold call the website, send us an email. Mm-hmm. Get a hold of us on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram or whatever else we're on. I don't even know.
We're on everything.
We're everywhere.
We're on too much. I can't keep up with it all.
Call the shrine. Let them know you're interested.
Yeah, call your local shrine center.
They'll put you in touch with your local temple, or for Omaha, they'll put you in touch with myself. All that kind of good stuff. So, reach out to your Blue Lodge. Yeah, anything like that. They'll have some contact information for you. Yeah.
Is there anything else we want to get out?
No, I mean, I'm very excited to do this. I think it's really neat. I'm more thrilled just because, again, I don't think a lot of folks do know what Daughters, of the Nile is, like what it entails.
I'll admit I didn't know.
Anything like that, or, all of that. So between that and life insurance, those are my two biggest things that I'd love to talk about. So it's been wonderful to just be able to sit and let folks know about Daughters of the Nile and how much I love it.
I've actually learned a lot. This was one of the more fascinating shows for me.
Good.
Personally.
Am I the first gal, too?
Second, we've had Helene Simmons on with Job's Daughters.
Okay, of course.
But
okay.
Not a queen.
She's not a queen.
Not a queen.
Well, not in that sense.
Yes. We're all queens.
Yeah. She's a sweetheart, too. I've known her a very, very long time.
Long time.
All right. Did you think of a shout-out? Anybody?
No.
No? You did?
I have a fundraiser coming up that I will plug.
Are we doing those or no?
Well, no. Those are Masonic questions.
Oh, that's true.
Duh.
I told you that was a dumb question. Why did you ask?
Let's see. I think I want to give a shout-out to the guy that bought my camper.
Heck yeah.
Because I would... I took a huge loss on it. Huge. Because we bought it brand new. Mm-hmm. But we paid it off for a lot less than I just sold it for today. Or a lot more than I sold it for today. But it won't rot in the backyard. Somebody's going to get enjoyment out of it. It's a young couple. They've got a toddler. You guys are going to have so much fun.
Yeah.
They're going to they're going to build memories in that camper. So that's...
Heck yeah.
That's good.
Well worth it.
Guess I'll shout out the base in New Hampshire for having boneyard parts for me to go pick up next week.
Yeah, you're taking an impromptu trip to New Hampshire?
Yeah.
Oof.
It's kind of like the military's you pull it, huh?
Kind of.
You pull it.
What about you, Jim?
Well, first, before I give shout-outs, I do want to mention that for those of you of the Christian variety, today is Good Friday. We're filming this on Good Friday. I hope by the time you've seen this, we've all had a good Easter. My shout-out would be to the men of Plattsmouth Lodge number 6, where I gave that fellowcraft. What a great group of men, and they had a lot of fun. The degree last night, there was some hiccups in positions, so everybody had to kind of alternate, and some of the guys barely knew their position, but we got through it. But the shout-out is because they're such an accommodating group and so considerate for somebody to do that the first time, and so complimentary. So I do appreciate that. It really helped make the best of what could have been a bad situation. It really was a fun night.
What about you, Your Majesty?
Thank you.
I'm going to call you that forever. Just
and I'm okay with this, so this is fine. Thank you. I would want to give it a shout out to my temple, everybody from Satra Temple number 59. If you're watching, thank you very much, and I cannot wait for our upcoming year. Part of that entails my first fundraiser for the year. It is May 17th. That Saturday. I'm such a terrible person. I don't know my calendar by heart. But it is a lip sync and karaoke battle. So we are accepting, groups, lip sync, karaoke yourself. So a main thing that we're really pleased with is we have a raffle to enter for a $100 Just Good Meats gift card. And you do not have to be present to win. So that kind of alone is worth it. The ticket price is $15. Get you a Sloppy Joe meal, and they get to entered into that raffle for the $100 of the Just Good Meats as well.
$100. It means
Yeah.
you get 2 steaks.
We could put a hurt there. So
They have the best New York strips.
Yeah.
oh, they're delicious.
They
so
dry age. I'm sorry, I get
no, that's a good thing.
They dry age their New York strips.
Keep
Ooh.
talking it up. There is more information on Facebook, or you can kind of reach out. But yeah, we have our first fundraiser of the year coming up. So I think a karaoke lip sync battle should be pretty entertaining.
Would be fun.
I'm kind of mulling around a few things I might draw the royal consort into. So, you know, I've always wanted to do a thriller. Like, there's a bunch of things going on. So, but
You're gonna have to go through.
yes.
My tasks for the year.
Yes. So I'd be love to see everybody there as well. But yeah, thank you for having me. Shout out to my husband as well, because again, just as Masonic wives know the pains of, you know, their husband's journeys, he knows mine as well. And honestly, you can't get through a pre-Master Queen year without, you know, having a solid base. So I appreciate that as well. But yeah,
He's pretty swell.
he does all right.
We
yeah.
like Ted.
I like him. We work together. Our jobs are the, you know, same. We, you know, work caddy corner, you know, match made in heaven. So he's good. But yes.
All right. So, upcoming events, right? Right. April 24th is the, what do they call it now? It's potential Masons something. It's the friendship dinner. They changed the name of it for some reason. Friendship dinner sounds a little, but anyways, that's April 24th at 5:30. If you have somebody that is not a Mason or only a Mason and you want to get them interested in Scottish Rite or the Shrine or something.
We attended it in the fall, so it's a great opportunity. They'll tell you about all of the different dependent bodies.
Yep.
They'll tell you about what it's like being a Mason if you're not already a Mason, and it's a good meal. So
You do have to RSVP at Tangier Shrine Center though, because they need to know how many meals to cook. April 26th, Trinity Chapter 299, Order of the Eastern Star is having a style show and salad luncheon from 11:30 to 3. I have no idea what any of that means, but it's on the calendar.
I've got one to add. On April 28th, Nebraska 1 will be having a fellow craft degree. My good friend Jason. The reason that I learned the middle chamber, he's getting his fellow craft. So
Oh, nice.
keep that in mind.
Is that the oldest lodge in Nebraska, Jim?
It is the oldest lodge in
I
Nebraska.
was waiting for that.
It has to
I
come
think
up.
I've heard that somewhere.
It's true. It's
Okay.
true.
May 3rd
Yes, Masonic
is the
Day.
All Masonic Day at Mahoney State Park from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. You will be there.
Yes.
So I'm assuming you'll be there. You'll be at drill.
Yeah.
Because you're a loser. Jim and I will be there. The podcast as an entity will be there. We'll be doing interviews.
Okay.
So we'll be doing some quick interviews. You have to come by and see us.
Yes.
You too.
Yeah.
You're not getting off that easy.
And anybody else that makes it, come on.
Anybody
stop.
else, if you,
Yes.
it is. So I was at.
You don't even have to be on when he says interviews. You don't have to. We'd love to have you on it as an
Yeah.
interview. If you just want to stop by and say hi.
Absolutely.
Even better.
If you listen or watch to the show, you know what I'm saying.
No, but go ahead.
Stop by and let us know. Like it was really cool. We had a degree directors meeting Wednesday night, and just happened to be the 3 guys that sat at my table with me are fans of the show, and I had no idea.
Oh, yay.
Like you don't know that people are listening or watching, so it's nice to know.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to be on camera, then don't. Like, we're not going to force you. But if you do, sit down. Either way, stop by and say hi. But if you want to do a little quick 5-minute interview or something, sit down. We'll talk to you. We like to talk.
Yes.
We like to hear ourselves talk. I hate the sound of my voice, by the way.
That makes 2 of us.
You hate the sound of my voice too? Zing! All right. Well, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yay.
All right. Well, until next time, travel well, my brothers
Travel
and
well.
sisters.
Success.
demonstrate that love never ends through the commitment to support past and present service members, the communities that surround them, and the loved ones of those whom we will never forget. Visit deganpage.org for more information. When it comes to something as important as insurance, it's imperative that you work with an agency who has an in-depth knowledge of multiple insurance products, companies, and guidelines, not just one. We are completely independent agents, and we work for your best interests. We are Mason-friendly. We have locations in Fremont and Elkhorn. We provide policies for virtually all of your personal and commercial needs, including health and dental. Visit our website at www.theinsurancecenterinc.com. We're available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.